Every year, professional testers put hundreds of vehicles through rigorous, real-world evaluation to find the genuine best of the best. Not marketing hype, actual test track data, real ownership testing, and expert scrutiny. For 2026, one SUV stood so far above the competition that reviewers called it a vehicle that raises the bar for SUVs of all shapes and sizes. Today, we're counting down 7 expert-verified best SUVs for 2026, straight from independent testing organizations that drive and evaluate over 300 vehicles every single year. These are the 7 you genuinely shouldn't overlook. Let's get into it. Hashtag 7. Hyundai Ioniq 5. Starting off our list at number 7 is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, named the Edmunds top-rated electric SUV for 2026. In a market that's become genuinely crowded with electric crossover options from nearly every major manufacturer, from legacy automakers scrambling to catch up to dedicated EV-only brands, the Ioniq 5 has managed to stand out consistently, earning this recognition for more than one consecutive year running, a genuinely difficult feat in a category where new competitors launch practically every few months. Part of what makes the Ioniq 5 such a strong expert pick is its distinctive approach to interior packaging, built on Hyundai's dedicated electric vehicle platform rather than a converted gas-powered chassis retrofitted with a battery pack. The Ioniq 5 offers genuinely flat floors and a spacious, almost lounge-like cabin that maximizes interior room in a way that retrofitted electric SUVs simply can't match. Without a traditional transmission tunnel running down the center of the vehicle, Hyundai's engineers were able to create genuinely useful front storage space and a reconfigurable center console that owners consistently praise in real-world reviews. That dedicated EV architecture also enables notably fast charging speeds, letting owners recover a meaningful amount of range in a fraction of the time some competitors require, a genuinely important factor for anyone relying on public charging infrastructure for road trips rather than exclusively charging at home overnight. Edmunds' own range and charging testing has consistently found the Ioniq 5 among the quicker charging options in its segment, which translates directly into less time spent waiting at a charging station and more time actually on the road. Beyond the technical specifications, reviewers have consistently praised the Ioniq 5's retro-futuristic styling, a design language that manages to feel both nostalgic, drawing inspiration from Hyundai's own design heritage stretching back decades, and genuinely modern at the same time, setting it apart visually from the increasingly homogeneous look of many competing electric SUVs that have started to blend together on the road. The pixelated headlight and taillight design in particular has become something of a signature look, instantly recognizable in a way few other electric vehicles on the market can claim, to the point where spotting one in a parking lot rarely requires a second look to confirm what it is. Combine that distinctive design with genuinely competitive range, fast charging, and a spacious cabin, and it's easy to see why expert testers keep placing the Ioniq 5 at the top of the electric SUV category year after year. For buyers specifically shopping the electric SUV space and wanting a vehicle that doesn't just check the electric box, but genuinely excels as a piece of thoughtful, well-executed design, the Ioniq 5 remains the expert-recommended standard to measure everything else against. Hashtag 6. Ford Bronco. At number 6, we've got the Ford Bronco, praised by Edmunds specifically for offering what they describe as world-class off-road capability and genuine adventuring potential, in a segment increasingly filled with SUVs that look rugged, sporting faux skid plates and aggressive-looking body cladding, but rarely leave pavement in actual practice. The Bronco has built its entire reputation on actually delivering the off-road performance its styling promises, backing up its appearance with genuine mechanical substance rather than cosmetic styling alone. What separates the Bronco from a lot of its rivals is the sheer depth of genuine off-road engineering built into the vehicle from the ground up, rather than bolted on as an afterthought to an existing crossover platform. Available features like locking differentials, a 2-speed transfer case, and Ford's specifically tuned off-road drive modes, which adjust throttle response, traction control, and suspension behavior for everything from sand to rock crawling, give the Bronco real trail capability that goes well beyond what most casual buyers will ever actually use. That capability matters enormously, though. To the off-road enthusiast community, this vehicle is specifically built to serve, and it's exactly the kind of genuine engineering depth expert reviewers look for when distinguishing an authentic off-roader from a merely rugged-looking crossover riding on the same platform as a grocery getter. The Bronco also benefits from genuine customization flexibility, with removable doors and roof panels on many trims that let owners tailor the driving experience to genuinely open-air adventuring in a way few other SUVs on the market currently offer at any price point. This isn't a gimmick borrowed from the Jeep Wrangler playbook either. Ford engineered the Bronco's body structure from the outset to accommodate this kind of modularity without compromising structural rigidity or safety. A genuinely impressive engineering achievement that reviewers have consistently highlighted in their evaluations, particularly given how difficult it is to maintain crash safety standards in a vehicle designed around removable body panels. Beyond the hardware, the Bronco has also built a passionate community around it, with owners regularly modifying and customizing their vehicles for specific trail conditions, further reinforcing the vehicle's genuine off-road credibility in a way that pure marketing simply can't manufacture on its own. Aftermarket support has grown rapidly since launch, giving owners genuine flexibility to further tailor their specific Bronco to whatever terrain they're most likely to encounter, from rock crawling to desert running to simple weekend camping trips down unpaved forest roads. For buyers specifically prioritizing genuine trail capability over daily driver refinement, expert reviewers consistently point to the Bronco as one of the strongest options in its entire class, and it's exactly why it earns a spot on this list of vehicles worth serious consideration in 2026, regardless of how much time you actually plan to spend off pavement in practice. 5. Genesis GV80. At number 5, we've got the Genesis GV80, described by U.S. News as an excellent luxury midsize SUV offering refined performance, a genuinely suave cabin, and plenty of standard technology, all at a noticeably lower price point than buyers typically expect to pay for this level of luxury and refinement. That value proposition is really the heart of why expert reviewers keep pointing shoppers toward the GV80. Genesis, as Hyundai's luxury division, has spent years building a reputation for undercutting established German and Japanese luxury competitors on price while matching or exceeding them on genuine cabin quality, standard feature content, and overall refinement, a strategy that's paid off consistently in expert evaluations year after year. Buyers stepping into a GV80 often find themselves comparing the experience directly against vehicles costing considerably more, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars more, at comparable trim levels, and coming away impressed by how little compromise Genesis actually asks for in exchange for that lower price tag. Beyond the value equation, the GV80 also delivers genuinely composed driving dynamics and a notably quiet, well-insulated cabin. Exactly the kind of refinement luxury SUV buyers expect but don't always receive at this specific price point from newer luxury brands still building their reputation in a genuinely competitive segment. Road noise isolation in particular has drawn consistent praise from reviewers, with the cabin remaining remarkably hushed even at highway speeds, a detail that matters enormously for buyers who spend significant time on long commutes or road trips where cabin fatigue becomes a genuine factor over several hours behind the wheel. The GV80's standard technology suite also deserves specific mention, since Genesis has made a point of including features as standard equipment that competitors often reserve for pricier trim levels or expensive option packages. That approach means even entry-level GV80 buyers get a genuinely well-equipped vehicle rather than feeling nickel and dimed into upgrading just to get reasonable functionality out of the infotainment and driver assistance systems, a pattern that continues to frustrate shoppers looking at some of Genesis's more established German rivals. The available 3-row configuration also broadens the GV80's appeal beyond typical 2-row luxury SUV buyers, giving growing families genuine access to Genesis's value-forward luxury proposition without needing to step up to a considerably larger, pricier vehicle just to accommodate occasional extra passengers. For shoppers who want a genuine luxury ownership experience without stretching quite as far financially as the established German competition typically requires, expert reviewers consistently identify the GV80 as one of the smartest picks in the entire midsize luxury segment for 2026. 4. Porsche Cayenne. At number 4, we've got the Porsche Cayenne, which U.S. News specifically calls out as perfectly suited for drivers seeking genuinely sporty driving dynamics from a mid-size SUV, a distinction that matters enormously in a segment where most vehicles prioritize comfort and practicality over actual driving engagement, often at the direct expense of anything resembling genuine driving enjoyment behind the wheel. The Cayenne has spent years building a reputation as the benchmark for driving enjoyment within the SUV space, leveraging decades of Porsche's sports car engineering heritage, developed and refined across legendary models like the 911 to deliver handling characteristics that genuinely feel closer to a sedan than a typical tall-riding crossover. Sharp, direct steering, a chassis that resists body roll far better than its size and weight would suggest, and a range of genuinely potent engine options combine to give the Cayenne a driving character that few, if any, direct competitors can match, regardless of how much those competitors might advertise their own sporting credentials in their own marketing materials. That performance focus doesn't come at the total expense of practicality either, which is part of what makes the Cayenne such a strong expert pick rather than a niche enthusiast-only choice reserved for track day weekend warriors. It still offers genuine cargo space, a comfortable and well-finished cabin featuring some of the highest quality materials available in the segment, and enough everyday usability to function as a genuine daily driver, not just a weekend toy pulled out for special occasions and then parked the rest of the week gathering dust in a garage. Porsche's engineering team has also made meaningful strides in recent updates to improve ride comfort without sacrificing the handling precision the Cayenne is famous for, addressing one of the more common criticisms leveled at earlier generations by reviewers who found the ride quality occasionally too firm for genuine daily commuting comfort over rougher road surfaces. That balance between sportiness and livability has only improved with each successive generation, further cementing the Cayenne's position at the top of expert rankings across nearly every major publication that evaluates this specific segment. For buyers who refuse to sacrifice driving enjoyment just because they need SUV practicality, expert testers consistently identify the Cayenne as the standard bearer for exactly that combination heading into 2026, and it remains the pick reviewers reach for whenever a genuinely engaging driving experience matters as much as everyday usability. 3. Ford Expedition. At number 3, we've got the Ford Expedition carrying an Edmunds rating of 7.7 and leading the entire full-size SUV class in their 2026 evaluations. Edmunds specifically praises the Expedition's huge interior, offering genuinely generous passenger and cargo space that puts it near the top of its segment, alongside a suite of novel driving technologies. To be fair and balanced about this pick, Edmunds doesn't pretend the Expedition is without trade-offs, and it's worth being upfront about those alongside the praise rather than glossing over them. Starting at $64,995 with destination included, it carries a genuinely substantial price tag that puts it well above budget-friendly territory, and their own testing observed fuel economy that came in below expectations for the segment. A common trade-off for a vehicle this large and this capable when it comes to passenger and cargo hauling duties. But even accounting for those honest caveats, Edmunds concludes there's simply no better overall pick than the Expedition when it comes to the biggest of big SUVs. A genuinely strong endorsement given how competitive the full-size segment has become in recent years, with every major manufacturer investing heavily in this specific vehicle category to capture family and towing-focused buyers. What really sets the Expedition apart for expert reviewers is how comprehensively it delivers on the specific promise a full-size SUV buyer is looking for in the first place. This isn't a vehicle trying to be sporty or economical. It's built specifically to maximize passenger comfort, cargo capacity, and technology. And by every measure that actually matters to a genuine full-size SUV shopper, the Expedition delivers at the top of its class across nearly every category Edmunds evaluates, from third-row legroom to maximum cargo volume with the rear seats folded flat. The available turbocharged V6 engine also deserves mention here, offering genuinely strong towing capability alongside meaningfully better fuel economy. 2. Audi Q7. At number 2, we've got the Audi Q7, which Edmunds describes plainly and directly. Its combination of performance, comfort, high technology, and value is simply hard to beat in the competitive midsize three-row luxury segment. That's a genuinely significant statement coming from testers who evaluate dozens of direct competitors in the exact same category every single year. What makes the Q7 such a strong expert pick is how well it balances competing priorities that often force trade-offs in rival vehicles. Buyers in this segment typically have to choose between genuine driving refinement, real third-row usability, and cutting-edge cabin technology, often sacrificing one to get the other two, forcing families into uncomfortable compromises depending on their specific priorities and budget constraints. Edmunds' evaluation suggests the Q7 manages to deliver meaningfully on all three fronts simultaneously, rather than excelling in one area while falling notably behind in another, which is exactly the kind of well-rounded performance that separates a genuine class leader from a merely competent competitor content to excel in just one narrow category while neglecting the others. The Q7 also benefits from Audi's broader reputation for cabin technology and build quality, translating into a genuinely upscale, driver-focused interior experience that holds up well against pricier competitors in the same three-row luxury space. Audi's virtual cockpit digital instrument cluster and MMI infotainment system have both drawn consistent praise from reviewers for their intuitive layout and genuinely useful customization options, standing in contrast to some competitors whose systems prioritize flashy graphics over actual everyday usability behind the wheel. 1. Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. And that brings us to number 1. The vehicle Edmunds crowned as the single best SUV on the market for 2026, beating out every other competitor across every single SUV category to claim the top overall Edmunds top-rated award, the Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. This isn't just the winner within its own three-row family segment. Edmunds specifically named it the best SUV, full stop, across their entire evaluation of hundreds of vehicles spanning every price point and body style imaginable. Senior editor Reese Counts, who oversees Edmunds' vehicle testing program, put it directly: the new Hyundai Palisade looks and feels more premium than nearly anything else in its class, with a spacious, comfortable interior and driver assistance technology that ranks among the very best currently on sale, regardless of price point or brand prestige. That's a genuinely significant endorsement, especially considering the Palisade Hybrid specifically beat out the smaller Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Edmunds' own team went so far as to state that of all their award winners across every single category that year, spanning cars, trucks, SUVs, and their electric counterparts, the Palisade Hybrid truly stands above the rest, describing it as a vehicle that raises the bar for SUVs of all shapes and sizes, not just within its own specific segment. That's an extraordinarily high bar for any single vehicle to clear, and it speaks to just how comprehensively Hyundai's engineering and design teams executed this particular redesign from the ground up. The interior craftsmanship in particular has drawn consistent praise, with soft-touch materials, genuinely premium switchgear, and thoughtful cabin storage solutions that feel meaningfully more upscale than the Palisade's price point would typically suggest, echoing the same value-forward philosophy that's made its Genesis luxury sibling, the GV80, such a strong pick earlier on this very list. Combined with a genuinely comprehensive suite of standard driver assistance technology, the Palisade Hybrid manages to feel like a vehicle punching well above its actual price class in nearly every measurable way. One important update worth flagging directly, because responsible reporting means covering developments as they happen rather than just the initial glowing review. Since Edmunds originally published this ranking, Hyundai issued a stop sale and recall, specifically affecting the 2026 Palisade Limited and calligraphy trims, related to a safety concern involving the second and third row power seats on vehicles equipped with that feature. If you currently own one of these specific trims, contacting your dealer directly is the right move, and Edmunds has stated they'll continue monitoring the situation and updating their ratings and recommendations accordingly as more information becomes available in the coming weeks and months. That's an important, responsible update to keep in mind, but it doesn't change the fundamental engineering, value, and overall experience that earned the Palisade Hybrid its position at the very top of the entire SUV category for 2026 in the first place. For buyers specifically considering this pick, it's simply worth checking the latest recall status on your specific trim level before finalizing a purchase, and confirming with your dealer that any necessary remedy has already been applied if you're looking at a limited or calligraphy trim specifically before signing any paperwork. So there's the full countdown. 7 expert-verified best SUVs for 2026, straight from independent testing at Edmunds and US News, led by the Hyundai Palisade Hybrid's genuinely rare feat of topping the entire SUV category outright. From the off-road ready Bronco to the driving-focused Porsche Cayenne, each of these earned its spot through real, methodical testing, not marketing hype. If you're shopping for an SUV in 2026, any name on this list represents a genuinely expert-backed choice worth serious consideration. Let me know in the comments which one you're most drawn to, and subscribe for more expert-verified vehicle breakdowns.